Happy 2022! First video of the new year. What's up, bitches? I am a little too caffeinated and excited, but good morning, good day, good evening, good night, whatever the fuck time you're watching this. It's me, Gigi, and I'm here to do a get ready with me. I want to try some new makeup that I bought over Black Friday and also some makeup that I got for Christmas. I love getting makeup for Christmas, which is a little hard, but like if you know me and you can kind of like keep up with my collection, you probably know what to get me. But I want to try some new products on camera. I want to chit chat. I know in 2021, yes, that was last year, I didn't make as much content as I wanted to, but that is for a multitude of reasons, which I kind of want to just sit here, relax, and talk to you guys about. So grab yourself a cup of coffee, put this on while you're getting ready, put this on while you're fucking cleaning. 2022 vibes, okay? We're getting our shit together, slowly but surely. So let's do some fucking makeup. As all of you may or may not already know, but I am an eyeshadow whore. I am a sucker for eyeshadow palettes. So, it being Christmas, I did receive quite a few, and I'm going to show you the two that I will be dipping in today. Well, I'm going to be dipping mostly into one, but I will show you the other one as well, because I might pick up some other shades from it. But that is the Stupid Love eyeshadow palette from House Laboratories. That is the brand that Lady Gaga created. This is such a cute palette, and when this first came out, there was a lot of complaints about the formula, but I personally have had a great experience using this palette. I've used almost every single shade. I don't think I've dipped much into these kind of orangey shades, but I've used a lot of these blues and teals right here, and I've had a great experience with them. So I'm probably going to dip in here for maybe a shade or two. I used one of these shades for my eyebrows, so I think I might be doing that again today. And then the palette that I will be using for the majority of this look, at least what I have floating around in my mind that I'm thinking of doing, is the Weirdo palette by Jeffree Star Cosmetics. First of all, this packaging, sickening. I'm obsessed. This is another Christmas gift. These colors are my emo scene 2006, 2007 just fantasy. I really wish I would have had this palette back then. Like, this is a dream. So I'm very excited to dip into that. So let's jump into this look. I'm so excited. I am so excited. I haven't used this one at all, so that's gonna be fun. I'm taking forever. I know my intro was super unhinged, and I feel like this is even more unhinged. That's what happens when I try to film early in the morning, so this is either gonna be really good or really bad. Did any of you set a New Year's resolution? I don't really set resolutions per se, personally, anymore, but I do set goals for the year. So I will be sharing some of those with you today because I've learned a lot in 2021. 2021 for me was definitely the year of learning and also the year of like mental health, personally, for me. In 2021, I feel like I did a lot of work on myself, and I kind of got back to a place in my life where I feel really happy with myself and everything that I'm doing, and I'm not really questioning or judging things the way that I used to. Oh, and by the way, I'm using the shade 911 from the House Labs palette. This formula is super buildable. So because I'm used to kind of working with more pigmented shades, that's why I didn't even tap the brush. Like, I just dip and right on the eye. Now I'm going to dip into the Weirdo palette and start with the shade Mohawk. Honestly, I probably could have used the white from here. I don't know why I forgot there was a white in this palette, but I will go in Mohawk. Tap some off. I'm gonna just put that in the crease, just kind of all over the place. Now, some of you are probably like, bitch, what the fuck are you talking about judging things? Like, judging myself. I don't know if any of you have that experience of like self-doubt, or what do they call it, imposter syndrome, where you know how to do things, you know you're good at them, but it's just like you sit there and you just judge yourself, and that little negative Nancy voice in the back of your head is like, you can't do it, and it's awful. So I go through that a lot, and so if you're wondering why I don't post as much, baby, number one culprit. I think I might have discussed this before, but I literally be sitting on piles of videos sometimes that I've filmed, and now it's like too late to post them because I felt like I didn't edit them soon enough, or nobody was gonna watch, and it's like, bitch, just fucking post something, okay? Just post anything. Next, I will use the shade Only Child. Woo woo! I love that about Jeffree Star. I feel like I can relate to him in that level, because like when you're an only child, which If you didn't know, now you know, I'm an only child. Life is a little different. Not necessarily in the bad way, you know, it has its pros, its cons. Just like everything. Oh, this is already looking so gorgeous. I don't even know where I'm going anymore with this look because I kind of changed my mind as I began doing it, but I am loving it so far. I'm very happy that I can finally be open and comfortable enough to talk about my mental health, and I'm glad that this is a conversation that now at the start of the 2020s we're having, and I hope that that can be a consistent conversation that we're open to having, because life is traumatizing sometimes and we go through shit, and a lot of times I feel like we run on autopilot and we don't really stop to smell the roses or really take in what's going on around us, and sometimes that stuff piles on and just slaps you in the face all at once. And that happened to me in 2020, you know, not in 2020, a little bit in 2020, but mostly in 2021. Just dealing with my life, my interpersonal relationships, you know, we all have stuff going on. And then it being the first official year of me being in business, crazy, like absolute insanity. So I'm still taking that shade Only Child, but I'm just kind of putting it into the the outer corner a little bit. Doing a little more blending. So for those of you who don't follow me on Instagram or remember any of my old videos, I do own my own business. I am a Brazilian wax specialist and makeup artist, and I occasionally do hair. Now, I actually started out in the hair industry as a hairstylist, but I ended up in aesthetics, and I think I'll make a story time and discuss that more, because I feel like a lot of the times when you go to cosmetology school, for those of you who have been or maybe are considering of going, you go in with a preconceived notion of what it's actually going to be like, and the experience is always totally different, not only depending on like the school where you go, but just eventually as you're starting to get to know yourself once you're experimenting with all these different aspects in beauty that you maybe didn't consider that you would like before. This is turning out to be such a pretty neutral look. I don't even know if I'm gonna make it more smoky. I'm so confused. I've decided I'm going to dip into the shade Freak Show, which is like this reddish, dark, gray charcoal color. I'm just gonna deepen things up a little more. Like I was saying, my journey was a little different. I ended up in a totally different place than where I thought I would be, but I love what I do. And when I decided to take the plunge and start my business in September of 2020, that is probably the bravest decision I want to say I've ever made. For the most part, for those of you who know me like really, really well, or have ever gotten the chance to know me at some point in my life, not that I've ever really, I feel like, changed much in personality, but I have grown in mindset, is that I'm a little bit of a scaredy cat. I've gone through a lot of really difficult things in my life, so I like stability. I like consistency. Routine makes me happy, but occasionally a little sad depending on where that routine is being done at. And at the last salon that I worked at, which I mentioned, I'm a Brazilian wax queen. If you want the most painless wax in Houston, baby, come get this. I will slay your coochie. A little shameless self-plug here. But on the real, I love what I do. And when I first started doing it, I've ran into a lot of rude people. Now, I don't know if these were secret shoppers or if these are just rude ass people, but people have said really disrespectful things to me before while on my table expecting me to like snatch their snatch. And it's like, how could you go to a person and ask for a service and be disrespectful to that individual who's performing the service for you? Not even to mention the fact that I'm holding hot wax that I can make hotter to the point of hurting you if I wanted to. But I'm not that type of person. So yeah, people have a lot of balls. And so when I started doing this, I didn't even know if I was going to continue being a Brazilian waxer, because I underestimated how difficult this job would be, because I judged how I thought most of society was going to be based on myself. But I Guys, I have stories to tell. Like, I literally think I'm gonna make this a series where I just sit down and do my makeup and tell you just like crazy stories from working in the beauty service industry. Because if you have worked as a hairstylist, facialist, body waxer, we've gotten to work with, I feel like, a good chunk of society. So you get to see a lot of people, and depending on how intimate you get with people, and considering what I do, I literally get people naked in front of me, people open up, and sometimes for good, and then sometimes it's just like, you should have kept that to yourself. You should have kept that rude comment to yourself. You should have kept that thought to yourself. But I try not to be a judgmental person, because I've said and done things throughout my lifetime that are highly questionable. All right, so I've decided to make a detour, and we're gonna go back into Stupid Love, and you know what? Let's go with the shade Motion. This like charcoal, it kind of looks more blue on camera, but in person it looks more like a charcoal shade with like a bunch of sparkles. So I'm going to dab that to the rest of this eyelid area that I have left. Shut up, bitch. That is sickening. That is so cute. Okay, that is so fucking pretty. You know, it's very hard, at least in my personal experience, to make matte shades that have shimmer in them, because most of the time when you put them on, it just like falls all over your face. But this right here is a real find. I really like this look. I feel like it looked a little crazy, like someone punched me in the face, but I'm liking it so far. But yeah, back to my original point, which is starting my business. I'm very happy that I did. It was one of the most difficult but best decisions that I've ever made in my life. And the fact that I made it through a whole year in business and was able to support my business, myself, my bills, is amazing to me. I'm definitely not at my end goal right now in my business. I have a lot of growing to do, but I've learned so much within 2021. And I'm so happy that I even got the opportunity to. It's so amazing to me that I'm literally at the beginning of my journey of just living my dreams. I'm going to dip back into the Weirdo palette, into the shade Only Child, and possibly go back and forth between Freak Show, because although I like all of this shimmery black all over the lid, I want to have the outer edges be a little more dimensional. So we're gonna work on that right now and give it a little more oomph as I continue talking to you. I'm sure what I said like a minute ago probably sounded super corny, but I'm being dead serious. Although I dealt with a lot of negative feelings and emotions throughout 2021, now that I've worked through some of that, craziness and those feelings, on the other side I do feel a lot better. Not that I'm not having that daily fight. I feel like I'm always going to struggle a little bit of, not that I'm not fighting that daily fight. I feel like I'm always going to have some struggles to an extent with my mental health, just because of the way my life has taken its course, especially in the early years. But I'm very, very happy about my journey and where I'm going. And also dealing with all of that on top of running your own business is just a recipe for insanity. And I think the one advice that I would give any budding business owner is work through your trauma first, work through your issues, because when you end up in a position where you're solely relying on yourself, I'm gonna take some of these shades on the lower lash line, I'm gonna start working on that. Because when you open up your business, and if you haven't worked on yourself, all of that will come crashing down on you in every way imaginable. Now, some of you might be thinking, okay, that's fine, it's whatever. And that used to be my attitude for years. But I think now that I'm in my late 20s and getting closer to my 30s, I'm finally realizing that that's not necessarily the healthiest thing, because having done that for years, all of that ended up crashing down on me at some point. And it made me realize why a lot of people have these quote-unquote midlife crises. It's not a midlife crisis, baby. It's a crisis of I haven't dealt with my trauma, to be quite 100 with you guys. So all of that piled on together, I learned a lot of lessons in my personal well-being in space, but also in business. And I'm definitely excited to start 2022 with a fresh mindset, a new set of goals, and now that I've reflected back on everything that I've done last year, just coming at it stronger and just fighting through and making things happen, you know? All right, we are done with the eyes for the most part, so I'm going to do my brows. And for the brows, I'm going to use the Stupid Love palette once again, and I'm going to use the shade My Mind. I think this is a lovely shade for anybody that has really dark eyebrows like me, or like black hair or almost black hair. So if you have this palette and you have that type of hair, baby, try putting this in your brows. You might love it. Speaking of making things happen, one of my goals for 2022 is to post more consistently. I want to get at least one video out a week, maybe two. I don't want to overwhelm myself, but that is going to be my goal for now, or at the very least a video every other week. But I don't know how that's going to work because I do want to bring back makeup and wrestling. However, I've been really having conflicting feelings on how to do that now that we have AEW Rampage, because I do watch Rampage. You cannot not watch AEW Rampage if you're watching Dynamite. It doesn't work like that. Like, I was okay before kind of missing Dark Elevation and AEW Dark, but like, I've even started watching those because like, you be missing stuff. They do build stories even throughout those like little shows, surprisingly. But I have really dove into this journey of consuming every single piece of AEW wrestling content that they put out, specifically like their shows. So I want to continue that into 2022, but I'm really trying to figure out how, because doing the show on Wednesday, or like filming on Wednesday right after Dynamite, I'm usually fucking tired, and I always have to work in the mornings on Thursday. So I've been trying to figure out, like, do I change my schedule, you know, because I own my own business. Do I change my schedule and work around that? But it's like, how is that gonna work with Rampage? Because like, Rampage, bro, like, it airs late 90% of the time. If I'm working like that Friday, like night, okay, night way before AEW Rampage is on, so I'll end up like watching it on Saturday, and on Saturday I always work. So it's like, how do I fit this in? Do I make makeup and wrestling like a weekly show where I just talk about my favorite moments in the entire week of AEW from all 4 shows? Do I continue to focus solely on Dynamite? Do I figure out a way to incorporate just Dynamite and Rampage? I've really been going back and forth for weeks now, trying to wrap my mind around how I'm going to continue that series, because I'm really excited about it, and it makes me happy to talk about wrestling and have another excuse to put on more makeup. Like, duh, it works for me. So that is kind of like one of the plans that I have going for this channel, amongst other content. Like, I've really been writing stuff down, and again, trying to be more proactive about not only filming it, but like putting it out there. Like, we're not gonna sit on content in 2022. Like, that's not gonna happen. I'm just going to assault you in the face with my stuff. It's happening. It's already happening. Putting out the juju there. Speaking of embarrassing moments and questionable things, this whole video. All right, I went off camera, I finished my eyebrows, and I slapped on some lashes. I have no idea what this brand is or where these are from. This is what they look like. They're really cute. I think they give the look a nice pop. So now we're gonna go ahead and do my face. I already primed and moisturized, so I'm gonna go in with this Clinique Stay Matte Oil-Free Makeup Foundation. This is so old school, but I actually love how this looks on the skin after you're like prepped and moisturized. It just has the most natural matte finish, and I'm really about that. It looks beautiful. This foundation can be so messy. Ugh. And this is one of the few foundations now that I'm in my late 20s that I find looks good under the eye as well. So I also take that under the eye sometimes, and I'll even like skip concealer when I use this foundation. I really enjoy the coverage. It's beautiful. So we'll see. I might go brighten things up a little bit. I might not. I don't really have a concealer right now within reach that I really like. I recently went through my concealer drawer, my personal concealer drawer, and that in my kit. And that was my stomach growling. And my singing clock singing. Wonderful. But anyways, I recently went through, like I said, my makeup drawer and my makeup kit. In my makeup kit, I got rid of things that are old. But in my makeup drawer, I just got rid of things and saw things that I wasn't really even like reaching for or using, and it was just sad. So I started retrying some of those products, and some of them were like stuff that I was really obsessed with, that I love, that I have backups of, and I tried it now and I'm just like, this ain't all that. And that probably has to do with my skin changing. Like, your skin will change as you age and you grow, so it's really fascinating. Like, I'm definitely thinking about making a video this year discussing products that I've loved, then hated, then loved again. It's weird. Sometimes they'll happen, and if you hold on to a product long enough, sometimes you will get to love it again, and that's what I've recently come to find out. It's really fascinating to me. I'm gonna go in with this Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define Super Size Concealer. This look just needs a little more brightness on the under eye, because right now I look crazy. It looks like I haven't slept in like 6 weeks. You have to blend out this concealer like super fast, or it sets and like, yeah, I don't know if I love this like I used to anymore. One of the things I was going through in 2021, or actually carried on from 2020 into 2021, is dealing with hair loss. And I feel like as women in our community, in our side of the world, that's not something that's very openly discussed. And I feel like there's like a shame and a stigma around it. And I personally felt the same way as I started experiencing it. So I also found myself kind of dealing with these negative feelings towards this happening. And hair loss can happen for a multitude of reasons. Sometimes it's genetic, sometimes it's due to stress, hormones. I have not recently had a child, but if you've recently had a child, there is such a thing as postpartum alopecia. Like, this is so surprisingly common. So now that I've kind of personally realized it, not that I've never not known that this is super common. As I worked as a hairstylist, I would see this a lot, and I'm a very curious person. So I go and I read and I research, because in cosmetology school and hair school, they only teach you so much. You really have to go out on your own once you finish and have your license, and be that inquiring person and seek out more information and education. And come to find out, all people experience hair loss at some stage in their life, whether it's due to stress, hormones, whatever. So me never having experienced that was really traumatizing for me all through 2020, and then having it carry over into 2021, I started to feel a little hopeless, to be quite frank. Things such as hair loss, especially I feel like for women, because like I mentioned, it's not something that we openly discuss, even though I'm pretty sure everybody's seen their mother or grandmother or somebody in their family that's a woman experience it at some point. And because we've been taught in society to hold so much value to our hair. I mean, that's the whole reason why the hairstylist and hairstyling industry exists. That, yeah, it makes you feel like not as feminine. It doesn't make you feel good. And not everybody can deal with that and have positive feelings on the other side. And of course, as you're experiencing some form of hair loss, stressing out more really adds on to it. So I really wasn't doing myself any favors. My hair has started to grow back. I have these like weird baby alfalfa clumps of hair all over the place, but seeing that hair regrow is making me feel a lot better. So I kind of think that this might be more of a temporary stress thing, but I don't know. I definitely have to go to the doctor and just really have a good checkup and make sure that I'm really like Gucci for real. We're almost done with our face. Now it's time for some bronzer, and I'm actually gonna mix these two bronzers right here. This is the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer in Bronzer. That's literally the name of the shade. It's just Bronzer. As you can see, she's been working on that one for a while. And this Anastasia bronzer in the shade Saddle. This one is a little warm. This one's a little more cool toned. I like mixing these two together. I find that I love the look I get at the end. So if you've been having Saddle in your collection and you're like, bitch, I can't make this work, but I also have no one to give it away to, I don't want to toss it, get you some of this Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer in bronzer. Because it just gives you just enough coolness. Like, see, I have some of that Saddle left over from yesterday, because I think yesterday I just used Saddle. Because sometimes, depending on the makeup look that I do, I can get away with using just Saddle, but I never found myself to be in love with this shade. And I feel like maybe Anastasia is like discontinuing these bronzers or reformulating them. I really hope they reformulate them. I really hope they kind of tweak the shades a little bit, because they can definitely use some improvement, and there's definitely a big gap in the shade range, especially if you have like a darker skin tone. It's just, where is the shade? So I hope that gets adjusted. All right, we're all contoured and bronzed up. Now I'm gonna go into my Pineapple Tart Holiday Palette. Yes, like I said before, I fucking love this palette. I think I've talked about this palette a lot on this channel. So I'm going to dip into these three blushes right here. I'm gonna sort of mix them together. I'm going to mix them together and put these on my cheeks. I really love these blushes. I actually have a really good experience with Tart I can't talk. I pick up. Oh my god, I can't talk. I feel like I need more coffee. Even though I thought it was super caffeinated, I think my energy is starting to run low. Or maybe I need breakfast, I don't know. But anyway, I love these blushes. I have a good experience with Tarte blushes overall. They swatch like absolute shit. But on your cheeks, they look amazing. And honestly, from a blush, you want it to swatch like shit, because it needs to go on with pigment on your face and not on your hand. You know, blush is not like eyeshadow. Same thing with highlight. Just a thought. Okay, I went ahead and got myself a little bit more together. I applied some mascara. Obviously, I brushed my hair finally. And I popped on some earrings, and now it's time to pop on some highlighter. We're gonna use this Nikkie Tutorials Ofra Highlighting Trio. I love this thing, it's so amazing. I've had it forever, and like, look, I've barely made a dent in these shades, even though I feel like I use them a lot. But, okay, I'm blabbering too much. Anyways, glazed donut on my brush and then on my face. It's so pretty. Makes your skin look so freaking dewy. I love over highlighters. They really make probably one of my favorite highlighting formulas out on the market right now. Like, fuck me up, that's pretty. Okay, I gotta do a little blending though. It's a little too blinding, and we got a little too much of everything going on. Alright, so I went ahead and lined my lips with the Jeffree Star Cosmetics Dominatrix Lip Liner. Dominatrix is one of my favorite liquid lipsticks of all time, and I love the lip liner as well. I think this is the reformulated version of the lip liners. I never tried the initial launch, but the current formula of these lip liners is amazing. So I did this because I decided to try something else that I have not tried that I got for Christmas, and that is this Supreme Gloss from Jeffree Star Cosmetics in the shade Fucking Freak. So it's this beautiful, dark, it looks like a reddish brown in person. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that over the lip liner, because I feel like if I had not done that, it probably would have ran everywhere. I don't know, but, you know, better be safe than sorry. Oh my god, this is so pretty. I have no idea how the camera is picking it up. It's not black. I feel like I have to keep reiterating that. This applicator, although it's a little funny, I do feel like it applies the product really well, because I have not had to dip back in. I love the smell of this. It's so pretty. I have another shade in this formula, but it's a more nude shade, and I've never had issues with it running outside the lip line, but I want it to come correct for this dark one. It's so pretty. I feel like this completes the look so well. I definitely could have gone with like a nude shade, but, you know, let's be bold and not boring this time around. Okay. I really like this. Alright, that is our finished look for today. I absolutely love it. I am living my best goth scene emo fantasy right here. Like, this is amazing. Like, I really wish when I was like a little emo middle schooler I had these skills, because I still think I was pretty good at makeup back then, even for, you know, like a kid, but it definitely wasn't this, and I didn't have these products. Like, oh my god, let me come a little closer. Like, I mean, oh, I did pop in a little bit of eyeliner in some of the glazed donut highlight in the inner corner, and the eyeliner just on the lash to kind of fix the band. This is so pretty. Like, I Love it. I love the lip. The lip is so cute. Fucking Freak really is, I feel like, the supreme gloss version of Dominatrix. They are very, very close, except I feel like Fucking Freak leans a little more also purple a little bit, kind of like a reddish kind of wine purple, but just very deep, and it still has that brown. I don't know. It's a very unique shade, but I love it. I'm obsessed with the whole look. So thank you so much once again for watching. I really appreciate it. If you're a client of mine and you watch this, I'm sure this is a slightly different side of me, because when you come into my space and you come to get a service, it's all about you. It's not about me, baby. So thank you for being here and allowing me to share this different side of, at least to some of you, of myself. To some others, this might be super familiar, but regardless of the fact, I really appreciate you taking the time and allowing me to be a part of your day. So I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Sending much love, luck, prosperity, all these wonderful things your way for 2022. 2022, I have a feeling, is going to be a much better year, at least on a personal scale. You know, the world is still absolutely a fucking mess right now. But sometimes we just have to focus in and hone in on the things that we are in control of and what we can fix. So make 2022 the best year possible for yourself, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!